Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Individual Excellence Awards, 5 Things to Know Before You Apply. This is part 1 of our 3-part individual artist webinar series, so stay tuned for more information about parts 2 and 3 of the series at the end of today's presentation. My name is Katie Monahan, and I'm a communications strategist here at the Ohio Arts Council. And joining me today are Kathy Signorino, the director, and Katie Davis, the coordinator of the Individual Artist and Percent for Art programs here at the OAC. A little bit of background on these ladies. So Kathy, who many of our listeners may know, has been with our agency for quite a long time. She is currently in her 26th year here at the OAC, and she's been working with the Individual Artist Program for 21 of those 26 years. So be prepared to learn some sage advice from Kathy. Hey Kathy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Katie. Thanks to have me here today. I'm so excited.
We are excited to have you here. And then Katie, on the other hand, is the OAC's newest employee, and she comes with an invaluable set of skills as both a studio artist and a teacher. So hi, Katie. We're glad to have you here, both as a new OAC team member and a webinar presenter today. How are you doing?
Doing fine. Thanks, Katie. I'm happy to be here. Excited about it.
So clearly, both of these ladies are excited to share their knowledge to help you prepare your best Individual Excellence Awards application. Today, they'll provide an overview of the program, walk you through the guidelines, and offer guidance on writing your narratives, preparing your support materials, and accessing the ARTIE application system. They'll also go over what happens during a panel meeting. So clearly, we have a lot to go over today. So let's go ahead and get started. Kathy, Katie, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Katie. So most of you know the Ohio Arts Council and the resources we provide. Others of you might be new to the agency, so let me share that the Ohio Arts Council is a state agency that funds and supports quality arts experiences to strengthen Ohio communities culturally, educationally, and economically. With funds from the Ohio Legislature and the National Endowment for the Arts, the OAC provides financial assistance to artists and arts organizations. And we do this in 2 different ways. First, through the various grant funding programs like the Individual Excellence Awards, for example, that the Council operates to provide support to artists and to make arts activities available to a broad segment of Ohio's public. And secondly, we do this by providing services that help enhance the growth of the arts. So our agency is led by Donna Collins, Executive Director, and Deputy Director Dan Katona. We are so happy to work with the OAC leadership and staff to carry out our mission, which includes supporting Ohio's artists. So before applying to any grant program at the Ohio Arts Council or otherwise, it's best to read the full guidelines. You can find our guidelines on the OAC website, oac.ohio.gov, under the grants/individual artists/Individual Excellence Awards. And there's a PDF there that also provides all the details that you'll need to know.
So we are here today to learn about the Excellence Awards. So you're wondering, what are these Individual Excellence Awards? These are awards of excellence for past work by Ohio artists. We are fortunate in Ohio to have so many creative artists that we'd love to give out these awards to you. We define a creative artist as the originator of the artistic idea. This means that we fund the playwright, not the actor, the choreographer, not the dancer, the composer, not the musician. So these are the types of artists that can apply. Individual Excellence Awards recognize the exceptional merit of an Ohio artist's past body of work. Awards celebrate the creativity and imagination that exemplify the highest level of achievement in an artistic discipline. Awards are typically $5,000 and may be used for a variety of expenses related to an artist's growth and development. Awards may not be used for enrolling or continuing in a degree granting program, and recipients must remain in the state during the grant year. The work you are submitting must have been completed within the last 3 calendar years. There are a few exceptions to this rule though, so make sure you read the full guidelines to understand specifics about your discipline. To be eligible to apply for the Individual Excellence Awards, you must be an Ohio resident living in the state a year prior to the deadline. Applicants must be at least 18 years of age. Students attending high school or students pursuing undergraduate or graduate degrees at the time of application may not apply. Applications are being accepted this year in the visual disciplines, which include crafts, design arts, interdisciplinary arts, media arts, photography, visual arts 2D, and visual arts 3D. Next year, we will accept applications in the disciplines of choreography, music composition, and the literature categories. Applicants may submit only one application per year. If you work in multiple disciplines, say for example, photography and sculpture, you will have to decide which is the stronger body of work and apply with that. If you need more information or help in thinking about which discipline you should consider, you can always email us. Our contact information is on our website, and our email will be available on the screen at the end of the webinar. Collaborative applications are accepted if both artists are the owners and creators of the body of work being submitted. Applications are reviewed through an anonymous peer review process. When you read the guidelines, it is important to note specific requirements for your discipline. Pay attention to how old the work can be, what your required support materials are, and how many works can be submitted. These sections of the guidelines are also in the support materials section of the ARTIE application.
Okay, now that you've read the guidelines, you're ready to begin the next step. We suggest that you prepare your narrative statement and philosophy in a word processing program, like Microsoft Word, for example, before entering it into ARTIE. Each statement should be no longer than 250 words, and after 250 words, the statement will be cut off. And the narrative statement is unique for our purposes. It's not an artist statement, but instead a literal description of the work you are submitting. Since the panel is viewing documentation of your work, you will want to use this statement to fill them in on what they are seeing in the documentation. The philosophy statement tells panelists why you have created the work you're submitting, if this is a continuation of a body of work you've done for a while, or if it's a new exploration. So here's an important hint as you begin writing. Our panelists actually won't know your name. The narrative you submit should not include biographical information. We want to provide the panelists with works of art, not bios, as they consider your full application. And if there is biographical or resume information in these statements, it will be taken out prior to the panelists seeing it. Now, if there is important information that's necessary for the understanding of your work, for example, if your work explores your Latino heritage, it's fine to state that. And there are some things that you should include in your narrative statement to help direct panelists to certain works in your support materials. You can use image numbers. You should break the statement into paragraphs for ease of reading. So you can talk about images 1 to 3, images 4 to 6, images 7 to 9, and 10 to 12 in separate paragraphs. But your images do not need to be displayed in the application in chronological order. So instead, think of how they read together while you organize your images and writing your accompanying narrative.
So now you've written your narrative and philosophy. Now it's time to prepare your digital images for upload to your application. It is very important that your documentation quality be at its best, since the panel is only seeing documentation of your work, and they will need to understand what is going on within the work. So OAC uses an online grant system, ARTIE, to accept applications to its grant programs. We will explain how to register for ARTIE and get into the system in a bit. But in preparation for uploading your support materials to ARTIE, you need to size your digital images to a square masked size of 1920 by 1920 pixels and 72 dpi. The JPEG images should be between 1 and 2 megabyte file size. There is a handy PDF with step-by-step instructions on how to resize your images for ARTIE on our website on the individual artist page, oac.ohio.gov/artist2. If you're applying in the media or interdisciplinary disciplines, you can upload media files to ARTIE if they are less than 2 gigabyte file size. For larger file sizes, you will need to enter the URL for a sharing site like YouTube or Vimeo. When you're deciding to order the order of your images, there are some things to keep in mind. The images appear in rows of 3, so they read together as a set. So you will want to think about how each image plays off the others in that grouping. These images from Columbus artist Laura Sanders, a FY19 Individual Excellence Award recipient, demonstrate how to order your images. The initial set of 3 images should wow the panel and make them sit up and take notice. The next series of 6 images, 3 at a time on view, can show how you have explored your subject further. The last set of 3 images should leave them with something to remember. If you're including details, they should always be shown to the right of the full-size image. Remember, your images do not have to be shown chronologically. They should be curated to make sense together and to show well as a whole. If you only have 10 or 11 strong images that work well together, do not add an additional image to round out the 12. It is better to submit less work that is a cohesive body than to submit work that will confuse the panel. You never want the panelists to ask if an image is by the same artist. In applications that allow for multiple types of support materials, the digital images will appear first in the panel review, and then the video or audio materials. For disciplines like interdisciplinary, you can submit a lot of support materials to document your work. So look for these details in the guidelines. If you are a sculptural installation artist and your work includes audio, video, or movement, you should submit in the interdisciplinary category to allow for these aspects of your work to be shown.
All right. So now that you have your narrative and philosophy written and your support material prepared, it's time for you to begin your ARTIE application. If you've never applied through ARTIE, you will need to create a registration. To do this, go to Ohio Arts Council at ohioartscouncil.smartsimple.com. There's a link on the grants page of our website as well. You will see the register button at the bottom of the page. And if you applied in the past and aren't able to log in, you might just need to simply click on the Forgot Password button, and a temporary one will be sent to you. After completing the registration process and logging in, you're going to land on the ARTIE homepage. You will see that you can navigate by clicking on the menu at the top of the page or on the icons below. When you're first in the system and you want to start an application, you will select Begin a New Application. And next, you're going to see the grant programs available to you. Select the Individual Excellence Awards. When you log into ARTIE the next time, you will click the Open an Active Application tab to get back into your in-progress application. And you can move in and out of your application in ARTIE 24/7 until the day of the deadline. The deadline day is September 1st, 2020, with your last chance to submit at 5 p.m. that day. ARTIE is really user-friendly, and one advantage is that your application and support materials are saved, so you don't have to worry about completing an application in one sitting. And when you get into your application, you will notice that it has assigned you an application number. It's important to keep note of this number because you will need it when corresponding with us and also during the panel review. The first thing you're going to need to answer is if you're applying with a collaborator. We do allow 2 artists working together on one body of work to apply jointly. If you are applying as a collaborative team, each artist must be an Ohio resident and not a student. Each artist would make an application with their collaborator name noted on their application, and each collaborator will submit the same narrative, but only one of you will submit the support materials. And if awarded, you're going to split the award equally. If you're not applying as a collaboration, you will just say no there. So at this point in the application process, you will enter your narrative and philosophy. You can cut and paste from your word processing program document. You'll probably have to use the function of Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste in the ARTIE system. Make sure that you just remember your word counts at the bottom of each section. And we suggest that you also ask a friend to look over your narrative to see if it makes sense to them when looking at your support materials.
Okay, now since you have your narrative in your application, I am going to show you how to upload your digital images and AV support materials. I'm going to shift over to an in-progress ARTIE application to do this. But before I do that, I want to let you know that this tutorial on our website, there's a tutorial of this process on our website on the artist page, oac.ohio.gov/artist2. In addition, we have just added some FAQs that might be helpful as you work through your application. So let me shift over. First, what I'd like to show you is that before I start my application, I like to create a folder on my desktop that has all of my materials that I want to submit for my individual excellence awards. Of course, this is just a sampling, so normally you would have up to 12 images here if you're applying in one of the disciplines that just takes digital images, or if you're having, if you're in media or in a disciplinary, you would have your videos here as well. So let's go to our ARTIE application. Oh, wow, let me log back in. Sorry about that, everybody. This is what happens. It does it as a safe guard to make sure that we don't have any issues. So let me get back in there. Okay. So let's get in there. There's my application. And so the very first thing, again, over here is where you have your narrative. We're going to click the Support Materials tab. Under the Support Materials tab, you'll see this discipline box. This has all of the disciplines that are offered this year. So you will have to decide, of course, which discipline you're applying to. So with each of these disciplines, a lot of them, you'll see for visual arts, you'll see a subdiscipline. So there is a subdiscipline for most of the disciplines that are offered this year. But for photography and for interdisciplinary, there is no subdiscipline. And in specific to visual arts, you will have a discipline, you will have a subdiscipline, and then additionally, you have to select 2D or 3D. So this determines the panel that will be reviewing your application. So once you do this, I'm actually going to choose interdisciplinary for this process so that you can see how to upload all types of support materials. You might have noticed that this descriptor of the types of support materials that are allowed within this discipline changes as every time I change that discipline. So the very first thing that we do is say I'm an installation artist and I have both images, digital images to submit, as well as videos. The first thing I do is I hit my Open Digital Image Uploader. What it does is it opens this window. You click Open Worksheet. Once that opens, you will see it has all of the information that the metadata information that you're going to provide for this first image. You put your image number. This is going to be the first image that I am uploading. You put the title of your work. You put your medium. The next thing you need to do is to put the date that you created your work. Most importantly is the calendar year. It is a calendar schedule, so you can just guess as to when you made your work. I'm going to guess that I made this on June 15th of last year. You put in your dimensions. My work is 25 by 23, and all two-dimensional work needs to have a 0 added under the depth. This artwork description box is really helpful if you have additional materials that are more than you can fit within this medium. If there's specific information that needs to be shared with the panel about, say, site location, if this is perhaps a public art piece that is out in the public, you can put that information there. So any additional information that might be helpful to the panel. I'm going to say that this work has a thick layer of paint throughout. Then the next thing you do is you hit Image Upload. It's going to find my file, and here's my images. What I'm going to do for this demonstration is to show you what it looks like to upload an image that has been resized correctly and one that has not. And you will see the importance of resizing your images from this demonstration. So I'm selecting my picture here. I hit open. I hit upload. It shows me it's complete. There's my picture. I close this box. I add my image to application. Once I do this, it's uploading it. It gets this little white box here. I close this window. I scroll to the bottom of my page and I hit save. Once I do this, it's actually attaching this image to my application. So there's my happy clown image. I'm going to do that one more time, but with the image that was not resized. Here's the worksheet again. I'm going to open that up. We're going to go through here. I'm going to number this number 2 just to keep ourselves straight as we are working through this process. And I'm going to say it's Happy Clown 2 just so that we can be clear. And then again, it's our acrylic on canvas. Let's choose that date again. We're going to go for 2019 and June 15th. We got our measurements of 25 times 23 and 0. I did want to make you notice that you can, of course, change this to feet if you needed to. I'm not going to put the description in here because we all know that there's a thick layer of paint on this painting. And so we just hit our image upload. We're going to go again. We're going to pick the one that has not been resized. Looks okay to me. And then once we hit upload, again, it's complete. We close down this image, this window. We scroll to the bottom of our page. Let me drag this up a bit. Sorry about that. We add our image to the application. We close that window. Here we are, and we hit save. And one thing, the speed that the images will upload is completely dependent on the size of the images. So that's why we recommend that the images be between 1 megabyte and 2 megabyte file size, and also the speed of your internet connection. So as you'll see, I have the 2 images now uploaded, and you will definitely see that the image that was not resized is skewed. So that is why it's really important to square your images to the 1920 by 1920 size. And like I said, there are the resizing instructions on our website. So let's think about reordering these images. So the easiest thing to do is to just, I want to say that this one wants to be number 2, and this one wants to be number 1. So all you do is you change the order number for your images, keeping the titles the same. And once you hit save, and it tells me the save's complete, I close that window, and there they are switched in the order. Another thing you can do is when you decide you don't want an image, you can just delete it. It just asks you if you want to delete that image, and I say yes. And so the next thing it does is it shifts the order of all the images that are remaining. So that is why it's really important if you look at the order of your images that you have on your application. If you don't like them in the particular order, then you just have to hit reorder again and reorder them in the right sequence. So the next thing we're going to do, just hit save on that one, is we are going to upload another type of video for our application. Since this is an interdisciplinary application, it can accept videos. So again, just like our digital images, the worksheet opens in a window like this, but there is a difference in that it allows on this part of the application to upload a link to a sharing site. I have a link. Well, actually, I don't think I have a link. Sorry about that. So we're just going to put in a link here. just to show you what that looks like when we get into the worksheet. So if it was a YouTube or a Vimeo link, it would show there. You put the title of the work that you're submitting, and the director most likely is the applicant. So you can just put applicant. So if you are the person who has done all aspects of the work itself, the directing, the cinematography, all of those credits, you cannot put your name on the application, so you would just put applicant. But if there is information that you want to provide for other types of credit, then you can put that. Let's just say I'm putting my name down here as the cinematographer. Okay. And then if there's other information that you need for the panel to know, say the running time, or if there is music credits that you need to give, then you can put that information in this description box. Okay, and then now we're again looking at when we created this work, let's just say we made it on the same day as we made the other work. Let me drag this up here a little tiny bit. And then we're gonna go ahead and do our add work sample again. It's looking for me to look for the file that we're going to upload. So just for these purposes, I'm uploading a file that is less than 2 gigabytes that can be uploaded to the site. We hit our save draft. And we close this window. Let me jump back over to my application so you can see that. We hit save. And you'll see my video here. So with the items that you're adding that are on the URLs for the sharing sites, those won't necessarily show up in this box here, but they will be accessed once we download the application. One thing you will know is that the day after the deadline, we will go into those applications and download all of those videos or audio files from those sharing sites and hold them in a secure system to be able to present them to the panel at a different time. So the next thing we will do is we'll go one more time through this. Sorry about that, didn't mean to open that part up. We are going to go through this one more time just to show that we are going to upload a document, because that is possible for some of the disciplines that you can upload a document. So the next thing we do again is we hit our open worksheet. We're going to say that this is a schematic of our gallery view. Again, I'm going to say it's the applicant. And just let them know what it is that they're looking at. And then again, the date. There you go. Sorry about that. We're going to go up here again, and we're going to add our work sample. And I wanted to point out that in this upload file, you can upload any of these types of media into this with this kind of uploader. So let's just say I'm going to upload this PDF, and I'm uploading it. It's uploaded. I close that window. I hit save draft. I close this window. I go back to my application and I hit save. So let's go and look. And so now we have our information. One thing that's important is all that information that you enter as metadata for your videos, for your images, all of that is actually exported out of the system and created into a form that is provided to the panelists. So they will get all of the information for the titles, dimensions, media that you entered for your digital images, and then all of that extra metadata information that you that you submitted for your audiovisual materials down here. So don't worry, just because it's not showing here doesn't mean that that it won't be provided to the panel. One last thing as we close out this practice of uploading these materials is, if you want to change some information that is your metadata, all you do is you hit that edit, and here you're able to edit any of this information that is part of this audiovisual material that you're submitting. And then all you have to do again is just hit Save Draft. Close out this window, and it will go back to your application. And just, of course, always hit Save. So that's how you upload your audiovisual materials. One thing I want to always let you know, if you have any questions about this, you know that you can reach out to Katie or I, and we'd be happy to help you through this process. I'm going to turn it back over to the PowerPoint and turn it back over to Katie.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. That was so good. Really helpful information. So the next, after uploading your support materials, there's an optional survey. You can see right there on the slide for you to complete. It's just for you to help us with some demographic information. This information is for reporting to the National Endowment for the Arts, and in no way is it going to be shared with the panel, and it doesn't affect award decision making. So you can see that survey. And then after you've completed everything, your narrative and philosophy, and uploaded your support material, now it's time to check your application and submit. So first you're going to click that Save button at the bottom of the page. And then before clicking the Submit box, you'll want to check for errors. And once this is done and no errors are found, then you click the I have reviewed the application in full button. And you're going to verify that you're a resident of the state of Ohio and not a student in a degree or certificate granting program. And then you click Submit. Right. And then for one of the best parts, you're going to receive an email from ARTIE alerting you that your application was successfully submitted. And there is an optional survey there that allows you to give us some feedback that you can complete. And we hope you will. It gives us, it helps us get better at what we do. And then you will receive another email from ARTIE in early October. It's going to alert you to the details of our panel meetings, which are going to be held in December.
So we've talked a lot about panel meetings. And so you're probably wondering what exactly happens at a panel meeting. Well, like Katie said, we'll be holding these panel meetings in December to review the submitted applications. We promise to keep you up to date with all the details for the panels as they become available. The panelists that serve on our panels are arts professionals who will be comprised of a mix of experiences in their specific disciplines, as well as demographically diverse, with a variety of male, female, ethnicity, age, and geographic location. Panelists will be provided with your support materials, your narrative and philosophy, and your AV information. That is all. No biographical information will be shared with the panel. The panel works through a series of review rounds to make their selections. Each panel uses this set of review criteria when viewing the support materials you submit. They make recommendations to our board based on any combination of this criteria. The criteria is listed in our guidelines. The panel is met, now what? So the panel meeting is over, and I'm sure you're wondering what the next steps are. First, you will receive an email from ARTIE in January to let you know if you have been recommended for an award or not. If you're recommended, then we ask you to provide proof of residency and non-student status as we prepare your recommendation for our board's consideration. The OAC board reviews recommendations at its first meeting of the calendar year. When they approve the recommendations and we receive your proof of residency materials, we will begin processing your award agreement. When you accept your award and register as a supplier with the state shared services database, we can process your check for payment. So the day has arrived. Your funds have been deposited into your checking account. Now what? Well, lucky for all of us, you can use the funds however you think it will best support your future art making. You can buy supplies, pay studio rent, pay for a babysitter so you have studio time. It just is all about helping you as an artist and helping you create your work. You just need to remain in the state during the grant period and may not use the funds to go back to school. When we ask you to publicize your work and complete a final report about the effects of the award on your art making by December 31st of the same year of your award. That's all. You can apply again in 2 years with a new body of work.
Great, that was great. Thank you so much, ladies. That was really helpful walk through the Individual Excellence Award application process. I know Kathy and Katie just provided a lot of really helpful information, but if you have additional questions regarding the process, absolutely, as they said, feel free to reach out to either Kathy or Katie. You can see their contact information there on your screen. I mentioned earlier that today's presentation is part 1 of our 3-part Individual Artist Programs webinar series. So remember to mark your calendars for parts 2 and 3. On Wednesday, June 17th, Kathy will be back here with our folk and traditional arts contractor, Christina Benedetti, and they'll be talking about resources and programs available to Ohio's folk and traditional artists. So that's exciting. And on Wednesday, July 8th, Katie will be back here with the Rife Gallery Director, Kat Sheridan, and they'll talk about best practices for visual artists looking to break into the professional art realm. So those are some really exciting professional development opportunities that you're not going to want to miss out on. You can find more information on our webinars page at oac.ohio.gov/webinars. That does it for today's presentation. Thank you again to Kathy and Katie for sharing their expertise.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you to everyone who took the time to tune in today. You should now all have the information that you need to hit submit with confidence. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.